let's just jump right into it, Casino.
Let's do it.
So the let's first talk about the game, and then we will segue into the controversy, and we'll even get from our comment section. But first, starting with the Bills and Chiefs, the Chiefs win 32-29. Let's just talk about the game itself before we get into the penalties at the end and the Chiefs issue and all that kind of stuff. So the game itself, again, it is insane to me how the score ends up being 32-29. It is insane to me how well the Bills always play against the Chiefs and just always come up short. Like even Josh Allen in this game, 22 for 34, 237, 2 touchdowns, rushed 11 times for 39 yards. James Cook had 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had that insane 4th and goal play where he
Yeah,
juked
it
the
was one
one
of the
guy and dove and
one of the best plays of, if not one of my favorite plays of the year, honestly, just because the stage that it was at, you needed that touchdown. Obviously, they still didn't win, but that was an outstanding play, just guts play.
yeah.
Um,
So
yeah,
James Cook, again, it doesn't matter how much the Bills add, they just don't. They just always come up short. So just from the Bills' perspective on this game, Casino, how did you think they played? Why do you think they came up short?
I think they came up. I think they played fine. I think Josh Allen played outstanding. Like his stats, especially just against those 4 games he's lost in the postseason. I think he's 11-1. I had it up earlier. I think he's 11-1 with touchdowns to interception ratio. He's got some of the best numbers in postseason history of all time for any player. He's just an outstanding player. My issue with the team is, why weren't they letting Cook run more? Why weren't they using Cook more? The Chiefs couldn't stop him. He was looking really good. I mean, yes, here and there they were getting some stops on him, but overall, Cook was doing really good. And that's where I think, and that's why I think the Eagles have a great shot of beating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, is for that reason right there. Is they're a good running team, and they're not afraid to run, right? They just put up 7 touchdowns in the rush against that team. Or against the Commanders. I think that the Bills' downfall comes down to coaching, honestly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Josh Allen, you can't ask him to do any more. Why wasn't he running anymore? I mean, he did that one great run. That was the majority of his yards towards the end of the game. And I'm like, there you go, utilizing his legs. There were so many times, yes, I know that they were not letting him get to the outside. They had a spy on him and making sure that he didn't get loose on the outside. But, instead of just throwing the ball and, having incomplete pass, just, Josh, run up the gut a couple more times. You don't have a lot more chances to make the Super Bowl, in my opinion. I really
Yeah.
don't think he does, just because bigger quarterbacks who run, and just bigger quarterbacks in general, they get beat to shit, right? And not only do you still have Patrick Mahomes and everything, but you have all these other great talents and teams starting to surge, starting to get better. You don't know the landscape going forward. That, yes, it's been dominant by the Chiefs, but look this year. I mean, you have Denver getting better. You have the Chargers getting better. Like, there's teams that are going to get better, and it's not going to be just Bills versus Chiefs. I mean, hell, the Ravens are always going to be a threat. So
Yep.
that window, I think, for Josh to make a Super Bowl is getting really thin. I
Yeah.
thought this was going to be the last year, but I mean, he's still Josh Allen, but that window is just going to get thin because of time. And I really think that they didn't utilize the run game enough in that game to take the ball away from Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and it was also one of those things where I thought the Bills Super Bowl window was closed last year. I thought that was the last year they were going to get it, and then this year they far outseeded my expectations. I think in the beginning, when we were doing the beginning of the season, when we were doing our predictions, I think I said they were going to be a wild card team, or something like that. I still thought they were going to make the playoffs, but I didn't think they would have a real shot at making the playoffs. And then you see this year, they had I mean, they felt like the best team in the AFC for a couple weeks there, where, after that embarrassing loss against the Ravens, I don't really think then they go beat the Chiefs during the regular season. And then they had, oh, I can't remember the big win they had after that Chiefs game, where, oh yeah, they had the weird 2 week window where it was like they lost to that Rams
Sorry, I'm
team by
still a little
two,
sniffly.
and then they beat the Lions by 6 points, and it was like, oh, maybe this is a different Bills team, and then they went on a tear after that. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like when you're watching the Bills Chiefs games, there's never a moment where you're like, the Bills got this. It's always just like the score is always close enough. The Bills can't get enough ahead. And it really just comes down to, I don't know if it's coaching, I don't know if it's schemes, but again, even that fourth down call, like even I saw this great thing online. I think it might have been even from Dan Orlovsky of all people, but he was like, "This is the difference between the Chiefs and the Bills in these types of situations." And it was like, "This is the Chiefs' fourth down call that they converted," and it's like a perfect pocket. There's a guy wide open, and then it's like, or it was something like, "This is them." 2 seconds into their fourth down call, right? And it's perfect pocket, guys wide open. And then it's like, this is the Bills in their fourth down, gotta have it call 2 seconds after it. And it's literally Josh Allen running, and three Chiefs are like a foot away from him. Right. So it's like, obviously that's coaching. Obviously it's Andy Reid. That's why it annoys me so much when people say, like, oh, the Chiefs, it's just Mahomes. He has nobody. He has potentially the greatest tight end of all time, potentially the greatest coach of all time. Definitely right now, the best offensive coach of all time. He
Definitely.
has the fastest wide receiver in the league and a top five defense. What more if you put Josh Allen, if you put any quarterback on the Chiefs to act like the Chiefs are going, 2-15 instead of right around 15-2, like that's you're dumb. You're just trying to hype up Patrick Mahomes when he doesn't need to be hyped up. But again, if you're the Bills, do you keep McDermott after this? Or
I
do
don't think
you,
so.
I
I
mean,
mean, they
how
well, I
many?
mean I mean, they're gonna keep him this year because all the coaching's already, bottled already brought up all together, you know what I'm trying to say. Gobbled up
Yeah,
is what I was looking for.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know who could change for him. I don't know who they would put in because obviously he still wins, but if you can't beat the one thing that stops you from like you can't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, This is 4 times now. Something's got to change.
yeah.
Obviously, your coaching scheme or whatever your game plan just doesn't mesh well against Andy's Reid's game plan. It feels like Andy Reid at least changes things up. Eh,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm
Well,
over it.
it's also
I'm not over it.
honestly,
I'm very, very sad still.
honestly, much like Andy Reid, that's who McDermott feels like. Because remember, there was that period in Philadelphia where Andy Reid was going to the NFC Championship game every year and losing to a different team until finally he went to the Super Bowl. So McDermott weirdly does feel like Andy Reid, but I don't feel like, even when that was happening with Andy Reid, he wasn't being deemed as one of the best coaches ever. I don't think McDermott,
That's a good
people
point.
would be like, yeah, I mean, he always puts together great rosters, but the one thing Reid never had until he got Mahomes was like the best quarterback in the league. You can make the case that even in this season, even in the seasons where the Chiefs have won it, you can make the case that Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league. He just doesn't have, the coaching and the weapons
The
and
tools around
defenses.
him, yeah.
Yeah. But
But
now
again,
let's,
I thought Cook played outstanding. I mean, Amari Cooper didn't do anything in that game.
no.
But Cook I thought was outstanding, and I'm baffled on why they did not utilize him more in that game. Just have no idea why they didn't utilize him more.
Again, you look at everybody who even caught passes in this game. Dalton Kincaid had 2 catches. Dawson Knox, Curtis Samuel, Keon Coleman all just had 1 catch. Amari Cooper had 4 catches on 4 targets, and then Shakir and Hollins had 3 catches and 6 catches. So it's not like, again, I don't know what your game plan is going into this game where it's like, let's not, like you said, let's not feed our game changer in James Cook. Let's not do what Josh Allen is best at, which is let him run, roll him out of the pocket, do some
I mean, I know
design
that
quarterback
again, every
runs.
time he did roll out of the pocket, there was always somebody there and he couldn't get upfield. That's just great coaching by Andy Reid. However,
Yeah.
you got to make something work, you know? And I thought they had it working um with Cook, but they just didn't give it to him. Just
Yeah.
blew my mind.
And then again, you have your tight end who gets 4 targets, 2 receptions, 13 yards. Like it's I just don't get, if you sat down McDermott and was like, "What's the game plan to beat the Chiefs?" Like, did we see it? Like again, we saw it during the regular season, and honestly, the reason the Bills won that game was that one Josh Allen like Superman moment where he scrambled up the middle and broke 2 tackles. So
Yeah.
it's like, was that wasn't obviously in the playbook. So what is the scheme to beat the Kansas City Chiefs? What is it? Like,
I don't know. I mean, I really think it's just some good power running. Just give it to your running back, dude. Like
that's what
that.
I think. Like, keep Mahomes off the field, burn clock, like I don't know, like again, cover Travis Kelce, which again, let's shift over to the Chiefs.
Oh
Travis Kelce in this game, 2 receptions, 19 yards. So they got half the equation. He didn't do anything in this game
no,
except obviously do a taunt in somebody's face that
you got that one
uh
2 point conversion, right? I think
yeah,
was
and
that
then
him. I don't remember.
it might have been him or the other tight end. I can't I think it might have been the other tight end. But yeah, so then we look at the Chiefs side of it. Patrick Mahomes 18 for 26, 245, 1 touchdown,
Nothing
0
special.
interceptions.
Nothing
Uh
special.
no, he also rushed for 2 touchdowns, 43 yards. Again, he had a 2024-2025 Patrick Mahomes game, which is he was fine. Like again, the all 43. The one thing I will say about Patrick Mahomes, he is not a running quarterback, but when he runs, it's always in like a big moment. Again,
Mhm.
if we're taking out the controversy on the calls, which we will talk about in a second, if you just look at Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback, I don't, again, there's already people being like, he's the second best quarterback of all time. Like, all right, calm down. But he's
I mean, I'll take
potentially
that. Just say it's second best. Always second best.
I think without question he's top 5. I think it's insane that people are already putting him in as the second best. But uh I think he's a top 5 of all time. And every time you watch him in a game, he's what you and I hate to bet against, which is a quarterback you're always scared of. Like,
Mhm.
if you have money on the other team and you're watching Patrick Mahomes, you're terrified that at any moment, because I mean, he's won every Super Bowl he's ever won by being down 10 points at one point. So it's like you need to be up by minimum what I think it's 14 points, and then
A
the
lot.
win.
You need to be up a
Yeah,
lot.
you need to be up by 2 touchdowns where it's even like the threat is still there, but you just feel a little bit better about it. But I'll also tell you what, in this game, Kareem Hunt, 17 carries, 64 yards, 1 touchdown. He was a free agent at the beginning of the season, and they kind of just brought him back when Pacheco went out with an injury. And then even in this game, Pacheco, 5 carries, 12 yards. So it's like Kareem Hunt was kind of getting the Ezekiel Elliott treatment where it was like he got cut. Everybody was thought he was past his
Mhm.
prime. Nobody picked him up. The Chiefs brought him back in just for injury depth piece. And now all of a sudden he's their leading rusher, I think, in every playoff game. Like, great story for him. Again, we hate the Chiefs, but there's
Yeah, I'm still
certain
not a fan
players.
of Kareem Hunt with all of his off the field
Well,
situations.
yeah, I mean that goes without saying. But on the field, it's impressive that all of a sudden he's back to being their lead receiver. But again, the thing that everybody knew would come back to bite them, the Bills traded the pick that became Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs. So then, of course, in the playoff game, Xavier Worthy of the Chiefs is their leading receptions, yards, and the only one who caught a touchdown. He
Yeah.
goes 6 receptions, 85 yards, 1 touchdown. He was the most targeted. He had the most receptions. He had the most yards. He had the only touchdown. So everybody, again, if you wrote that in a movie, you would cross it out and be like, that's too unrealistic. That's dumb that the one player they trade away is the one player that beats them. But and then again, the fumbles, the Chiefs lose, or the Chiefs get rid of 4 fumbles. They only lose one of them. Uh, or no, I think they lost all of them. The If I remember correctly, they
Well,
had 4
then you
turnovers
had
in
one
this
that got
game.
called back.
Yeah. So the only fumble technically lost by the Chiefs was one. So we'll just leave
Yeah,
it
it
at
was the
that. But
handoff between Mahomes and Pachenko,
yeah.
or
So
Hunt, whichever running back.
I think it was Hunt. Call at the end of the game where it's the 4th down. Josh Allen again plays Superman, buys enough time to launch a rocket downfield, hits Dalton Kincaid right in his hands at the 4th down call, and he drops it. Then it
Like,
came down.
it's in Kincaid's hands. Like, I don't like, he slipped too. Like, dude.
I know. Also, if you
Ugh.
look at that play from like the all 22 angle where it's above the field, he is so wide open at past the 4th down marker. It's ridiculous. And then obviously Allen has to throw up like a Hail Mary pass to get it, just to get it to him. Hits him right in the hands. He drops it. And then the Bills just have to make one stop. Maybe they'll get another chance.
Never
Casey,
did.
a field goal, and they would be down by what? They lost the game by 3. So they'd be down
Yeah.
by 6. And then again, it's that one call where not Pacheco, not Hunt. It is who is the guy? Oh, Samaji P. Ryan is just wide open on the left side. Not anybody within 20 yards of him. It's an automatic first down. Chiefs win. And much like you said at your bar where you were working, just I feel like the air got sucked out of the football watching world. Just like, and it wasn't even like the wind got sucked out where everybody was like, oh man, it was more like uh
Ugh.
like just like that, like just exhaling of
And
just
I mean, everybody just went on about their evening, and like nobody was like talking about it anymore. Everybody just like turned their head and was just like, and then maybe within, I don't know, 2 minutes, because we had a line at the bar. We had already changed it all to the Golden Knights game. We're just like, yeah, this is better. And everybody was like, oh, sweet, the Knights, they're winning. Cool. Like, we were
yeah.
like, it was just like, so nobody gave a shit anymore that the football game was over. Like, or nobody was discussing, nobody gave two shits about what was happening. They're just like, okay, it's over, thankfully. Cool.